all of a sudden I lost my voice. Like I got nodules on my voice. It had gotten just worse and worse and worse. That's when my awakening happened. Because when I then lost my voice, I lost my identity. I had no idea who I was. I developed anxiety to speak, fell down into depression, totally lost as a 21-year-old. Like my life switched like that. And that's when my whole awakening journey started. That culminated in this moment on the bench where I realized what I was going to do in life.
Before we begin, I wanted to take a moment to share something I personally created. As my own spiritual awakening unfolded, I saw many people were navigating this path alone. I was guided to build a space where we could learn, expand, and support one another as we walk this path together. That space became Spirit Calling. Spirit Calling is a spiritual community I founded and actively lead. Inside, we receive monthly guidance from the Great Council of Light. We gather weekly for live community events and move through monthly challenges to support integration and growth. Each month also includes a custom sound healing and shared resources. And for those who feel called into a more accelerated path, there's a monthly mastermind within the community. It's become a true family. And if this resonates with you, you can scan the QR code or visit the link to join us. Now let's begin. I'm so excited about today's conversation. I've been wanting to create this collaboration with someone that I had the pleasure of meeting last year. That's Janneke from Wisdom from the North. I was a guest on her podcast and it went viral and all of these people were communicating and messaging and watching the video. And there was so much love within her community that I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I could interview Janneke and share her story? So I have this beautiful woman here today, the host of Wisdom from the North. She also explores spiritual growth and purpose and awakening. But before that, she was an artist and a performer and a seeker. And she was navigating her own big shifts in her life. And we actually share some of the same creative DNA with singing and storytelling. And we actually have the same dog. So I feel like we're like little mirrors of each other. And I couldn't wait to have you here today. So welcome. I'm so excited.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah.
It is nice to be on the other side, after having done around 800 or 900 interviews now. It's nice when someone asks, to interview me. So, and it's an honor to be here with you, especially.
Thank you. You're so sweet. So I'm going to start off with what I ask everyone. It's a question for our viewers. This podcast serves as an inspiration for those who have heard that spirit whispering. They've listened to it and answered it, and then they are living the call. So I would like to know, when did you first hear that call of your spirit, that whisper that was coming to you? And what did it ask you?
Well, I don't put myself in that box, that traditional box with like hearing voices or seeing like a clairvoyant. However, I think we all receive messages in our own unique way.
Yes.
And for me, it's also developing now. I feel that it's coming on stronger, but I did get a strong calling when I was 30 something in 2012. I don't think it was a coincidence. And it was a clear, we could call it a download or an insight, where I just heard myself say, Dad, I was sitting on a bench with Dad and I said, what I really want to do in life is to travel around the world and interview spiritual teachers about the big questions of life. Like it was almost like someone was saying the words. And then I looked at him and I was like, where did that come from? But it just resonated. And I was like, well, that is what I'm going to do. And obviously, there's a long story before this that I was feeling lost in life. I had no idea what to do with my life. And I was studying to become a primary teacher after having left musical theater in Norway, because I'm Norwegian. And that message was so strong. And this was 2012. And I'm still doing these episodes. And I'm still working with Wisdom from North, which is my passion. So that was not a voice, but, I think it was my higher self that was like, okay, now it's time that you start on your mission.
Yeah, it was calling you. And that's what I mean. It's like we hear that higher guidance. We don't feel in alignment with what we're creating, what we're doing, how we're living, how we're being. And we want something more. And in that moment with your father, you were kind of ideating and just allowing that to come through you. It's so cool. So let's go back to that common thread that you and I have is that creativeness. And I often say that creatives have that connection to inspiration, to spirit. They're constantly channeling, although we don't know that we're doing that, right? And so, you, as a young child, were you a singer and an artist? What were you doing, and how did that journey start for you? I want to go back to the beginning of Janneke.
Yeah, way back when. Well, I was 6, 7 years old, and my father came home with a cassette.
Mm,
It was the time for the cassettes from Les Miserables. It had
yeah.
just been put up on in London for the first time on West End, and I just played that again and again and again. And I invited the whole neighborhood, all my friends, to listen to this beautiful music. And it was kind of strange because I was like 6, 7 years old and I was immersed in this beautiful music and the story of Les Miserables. I just something touched me so deeply about the story, even though it was kind of an adult story about
Yeah.
war and basically almost everybody dies in Limits Rubble. But I just loved it. I felt so connected. And I've always wondered what that is because nothing, almost nothing in my life connects me more to spirit than Les Miserables does. Like there's something there. So we started out with me listening to it, and then all of a sudden, by a coincidence, Les Miserables was going to be put up in Norway the same year, and we called in to see if I could audition, and they had already cast the three little Cosette. But one just got sick all of a sudden and couldn't do the role. And they were like, yeah, so come down with your daughter, my mom was calling, tomorrow. And we did. And I landed the role. And that's when my musical theater career started. It was like role after role after role. And at that time, we didn't have social media. We only had one TV channel. And I played Annie in the first production of Annie. Did a record. Like I got a lot of attention as a
Oh,
young girl.
yeah. Did you
Yeah.
know that you could sing that early in your life? Had you had training, or you had
No.
just knew you could do it? You just desired it and wanted it, and it came to you.
Yeah. I didn't even know that I could do it. I was just doing it.
Wow, that's
Like as a
incredible.
child, you
Yeah,
just
yeah,
do what you love to do, right?
yeah.
But I had some trouble with my voice though. I was hoarse a lot.
Hmm.
And my mom is like, you always, struggle with your voice, but you said, I'm going to make it anywho. I'm going to perform tonight, even though my voice is really bad. So I've always been struggling with my voice, which ended up being sort of a transformation in my life. Because what happened was that I did role after role after role, and it culminated in a way to I was 21 years old, and I landed this role of Rizzo in Greece. I did that, and
Wow.
all of a sudden, I got the main role of Audrey in Little Shop of Horrors. And I was thrilled. I had a boyfriend. I earned a lot of money. Like I felt on the outside, I was a success, and I felt on the inside too, because that was sort of my focus. It was to make it, and that was my level of consciousness at that time. But then all of a sudden I lost my voice. Like I got nodules on my voice. It had gotten just worse and worse and worse. That's when my awakening happened.
Mm,
Because when I then lost my voice, I lost my identity. I had no idea who I was. My boyfriend left me. I developed anxiety to speak, fell down into depression, totally lost as a 21-year-old. Like my life switched like that.
mm,
And that's when my whole awakening journey started. That culminated in this moment on the bench where I realized what I was going to do in life, that I found a deeper voice. So I think my mission was not to be on stage playing other characters. It was a way for me to be comfortable, I think, being on stage and speaking English also because I studied in the US. I think that really made me more secure in front of the camera. But I think this work is where my real mission lies.
Yes, absolutely. We
So
have that in
yeah.
common. I mean, I often email you and you write back to me and I'm like, I love that you sang to your husband and we're going to talk about that. Or you did this, or like, I feel that resonance. The same with you is I feel like I've been training all this time for the voice to actually be where it is here and now and to be doing the work that we're doing here and now. And many people go through that. The losing of the voice, though, and that suffering was crucial for you in that awakening and uncovering of what your next part of your journey was. It's absolutely beautiful. So I would like to know, what happened after that conversation on the bench with your dad and you had that realization. What were the first things that you did? Like, did it present itself to you or did you make it happen?
Yeah, things happened really fast, actually. And I do believe that once you start to follow sort of the red thread, we say in Norway. I don't know if that's an English expression, but it's sort of like you see a red thread in your life that, oh, there's a purpose here. There's a meaning in my life. I see now why I did such and such because this makes sense for my future. But everything happened so fast. Like in a week, I got 2 gigs out of the blue.
Wow.
And at that time, I didn't have work. I was struggling in auditions and I didn't have work. So I was like, where did they come from? And it was like stories like this. Like the casting director was like, your CV just jumped out of the pile of other CVs. Like it was strange. And I just felt I had to call you. I was like, okay, that's strange. So I earned, I think, around $5,000, and I earned $2,500 on one gig and $2,500 on the other. And the reason I'm saying that is because my camera cost $2,500 and my website cost $2,500. Like it was so perfect. So I could afford it. So I bought the camera, I got the website, and I just started emailing spiritual teachers like Byron Katie, Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton. And they said yes, and yes, and yes. And I started doing these interviews on YouTube. And that's where it started.
It's amazing. Yeah, you just put one foot in front of the other. I love the red line or the red thread or whatever you said. I think it's so cool. And it's what you have to do with wonderment and amazement. We talk about that so often. The universe doesn't really want us to understand all the hows and all the details of it, but wants us to dip into that excitement and the possibility and the sea of possibility. And you did that. And that's when things show up. The 2,500 and the 2,500 for the camera. And did you know how to use the camera? I mean, I love that you just reached out to people, but just figured it out, right? That's the greatest thing right there.
Yeah, I was younger at that time, but still, I had so much energy and so much passion and joy around discovering something that was much more authentic than I've ever felt before. Even though the musical theater was very authentic, it also was an element of, I think, showing off, doing something for others in order to receive the applause. There was an element of that. But this was just for me. Like people around me would even ridicule me and say, what are you doing now? Like, aren't you supposed to get a real job? Like you're 30 something and you haven't married, you have no kids, and now you're going to start on YouTube speaking about spiritual alternative stuff. Like I didn't get a lot of cred for that.
Yeah.
So it made no sense, like logically. But in my heart, I was like, this made the most sense in my whole life. I felt so much joy. So the technical stuff I just figured out. And it's still, I think that's, some of the
Still
most
figuring
difficult
it out.
part. But still figuring out, to be honest.
Yeah. And as far as your spiritual journey at that point, you were doing really well at listening and just allowing. But had you ventured into, like, where were you on that journey where you were talking to people like Greg Braden and other spiritual teachers, which was allowing you to get your own real-time education? That's the spiritual intelligence, and you were embodying it by living it. But I'm curious, as your knowledge expands, like, were you starting to have realizations about yourself? Were you starting by any chance to do and work with practitioners? Was your healing journey starting with any of that happening?
Yeah, I'm definitely still on that healing journey
Yeah.
constantly, and there's layers after
Yeah.
layers. And I'm actually writing a book right now where I'm really meeting myself and going back and seeing the breakthroughs I've had in my spiritual development, and also the setbacks in a way, and also the things I've been struggling with and my blind spots. So it has been this slow discovery of starting to discover my belief systems. That was sort of the first thing that I realized, that I was having thoughts and beliefs that I thought were the truth about me and reality. And then I understood that, but that's just beliefs. And they are way down there in my subconsciousness. So I started looking at that. And then I started discovering shadow work as well, and inner child work, which also was a big thing, where I realized that, it's not just about the positive thinking and the visualization and sort of the light work. I also need to actually radically embrace and love also my dark sides. So that is something I'm still sort of obviously work with, the both the wisdom that is in shadow and also sort of the love and the light, and how they go together. And at the same time, I've had some spiritual experiences that have verified that all this is not just something I'm learning about intellectually, but it's actually, there is some truth to it. Because I came to a point where I was thinking, okay, I read all these books, I've listened to all these podcasts, and I'm interviewing myself, but is it really true? Like, how would I know if I don't have the experience myself? So I did really go deep into it and started like a practice with meditation and mantras, and went to some specific courses that were quite esoteric.
Yeah.
And we learned mantras that would help us go out of our bodies, astral project, lucid dream. And when I started having these mystical experiences and actually experienced myself, for instance, out of my body, that's when I really knew that,
Yeah.
okay, this is not just something people are talking about. It's actually true. It's the real deal. And I will never doubt that it's real anymore, because now
Yeah.
I know. And I'm really grateful for those mystical experiences, because if I hadn't had them, I think I still would have been in podcast when I'm interviewing, like, okay, I would still be a bit skeptic. But now I feel I can embrace so much more of what my guests are sharing with me, because I've had like a mind-blowing experience myself. So I know, why wouldn't this be true? Why wouldn't this be
Yeah.
possible?
Yeah.
But these mystical experiences, they have dissipated, I gotta say. And that's also because I don't think I'm paying attention to, like, oh, I really
Yeah.
want to go out of my body now. Now I'm more focused on the mission, doing this work, doing the episode, making online courses, writing a book and stuff like that.
You're busy,
Than,
lady. You're busy. You're
yeah,
busy.
than staying up at night and
Well, this
lucid
is the
dreaming.
season. I always say that this is the season for that. And we're in a really pivotal moment, closing down a 9 year and starting a new 1 year with all the things that we're supposed to bring to the world. And you're really super focused on all these new things you're doing. I mean, writing a book takes a lot of time. You just launched your community. We're going to talk about all of that. But I agree with you. You know, you're having your spiritual awakening real time while living and embodying it. Embodiment is for a lot of people who aren't living, leading a podcast and talking to spiritual leaders. They have to do that every single day of their life with choices and decisions. And you're doing that, you know. There are mystical experiences too, choosing love and not fear, choosing love for the future, choosing love for everything that sits on the other side of whatever it is that's your future. Thank you for sharing that. I agree with you. I think it's important to have those experiences because they become your truth. You own your discernment and you understand what it is you believe in. What can you tell me where the title for your podcast came from? I mean, I have my own ideas, but I think other people would like to know that too.
It just came to me.
Mm-hmm.
I was jogging actually the same day as I received the message. I was
Really?
jogging. Yeah. So it did
Wow.
happen very fast. And the title, just Wisdom from North, just dropped into my mind. And again, I was like, That's it.
Okay.
Like I couldn't argue with it. And I was like, well, wisdom from north, is that me? Is that the portal? Is that the northern lights? I don't know. Like I'm just saying yes. And
Yeah, it's you.
I'm going with it.
It's all of it. It's all the above, right? They're all the pieces
Yeah.
of you. So you've interviewed so many teachers and thought leaders over the years. How many episodes did you say that you've done? How many? 700?
Yeah, I think I have around 800 videos there.
Wow, that's
So I've
amazing.
done a few blogs myself, but also
Yeah.
Norwegian episodes on my Norwegian channel. So there's,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah, there's
800
a
or
lot.
so.
So that's a lot of people. That's a lot of wisdom. That's a lot of years, right? That's a lot of work. What are some of the biggest lessons, I think, maybe that you've seen or patterns that have emerged over the years? Because you interviewed me, I'm a channeler, right? And whatever I am doing right now just completely changed since I've met you. I'm doing all kinds of stuff which you don't know about yet. But you must see so many patterns over the years. I think it's so interesting.
You mean patterns within myself or others?
Within kind of like the spiritual space, or within maybe the things that that people are teaching and things that have accumulated and shifted over all of those episodes. So maybe there's a lot of channelers that you've had the last 10 years and maybe you didn't have before, or something like
Oh,
that.
right. Something like that. Okay. Yeah, definitely. There weren't that many channelers at all, like 4 or 5 years ago. I think it was after COVID, where
Yeah.
it was like exploding with channelers, because that used to be a rare thing. Like we knew of a few people that were famous channelers in the world, like Daryl Anka, Wendy Kennedy, Abraham, Esther Hicks, and all these big ones. And of course, I wanted to have them on the show. And then there was these NDE experiencers,
There you
people
go.
who've had NDEs, and that has also exploded. And videos like that used to go viral on YouTube and they don't anymore. Like there's so many people who have them. And I'm still wondering about if that is because more people have the courage to come forward with it now, or if actually more people are having near-death experiences. That I wouldn't know.
Interesting.
But I do think that more people are opening up to channeling. I don't think it only has to do with courage, because there's so many interesting stories about people who are doing maybe something left brain, like being a scientist or stem cell biologist or engineer or archaeologist. And all of a sudden they have an encounter with an angel or an aha or insight or awakening. And they leave their job and they start channeling and doing spiritual work, and they leave their old life, and their friends are reacting, and maybe family, etc. And they just immerse themselves in this new life. That seems to be something new, and I think it must have to do with that the calling is so strong.
Yeah.
That it feels like that people are really waking up and they cannot deny the truth that's arising inside. Like they cannot not be authentic or live authentically. So I feel that's a new pattern, that people just feel that I have to follow this new truth that has come, have arisen from out of nowhere, it seems
I agree.
like.
Yeah, I agree with you.
That's the thing. And then obviously we have extraterrestrials, much more awareness around it. It's not that woo-woo anymore. It seems like it's more included in more and more podcasts. So there is so much more space and room for these topics in general. And whenever people ask me what I'm doing, I'm not ridiculed anymore. Like I haven't experienced that in, I think, a couple of years, that people have been like, what? You do what?
No.
I haven't.
No, I agree with you. I mean, just at any kind of business meeting, and I think at the water cooler, in average, anyone just in an average life, these are the conversations that are happening. And I think you're right. I think COVID did shift a lot in people. It made them look at their purpose and what it is they were doing in their life, not just with work, but with everything, relationships. And there's so many channelers now. And I agree with you. I think that the earth is shifting, consciousness is shifting. People are looking at what they're doing every day and going, do I want to do that anymore? Much like they did with COVID. So there is a dynamic shift that's happening. I mean, your work has shifted too, Janneke. Like, you just launched a community. I launched a community. So many people are launching communities because so many people are waking up, because so many people are having these conversations. And just like you said, you might have gotten ridiculed. People feel alone and they need community. They need that connection. They need to feel supported, to give support, to have understanding. So I'd love to hear a little bit about where you saw maybe that opportunity to, did you get a download to create your community? You already had yours because you had your audience and your followers and your subscribers and your email list and all that stuff. But where did that come from, that next step in evolution?
I think it was almost the same. It wasn't that big of a download, but it was a frustration that I wanted to take the work further and really help people transform their lives, not just inspire them through podcast episodes, but also help them really transform their lives, like doing the work, not just, listening to it. Because I think sometimes we can take it, I'm not saying that other people are doing this, but it's easy to look at something like a podcast episode about spirituality as entertainment. And we just
Right.
listen to it without actually applying what is being said. So I think that's where the memberships and the communities and this online courses are very good, because then you're actually applying something and doing the work. And it came to me that, my gosh, I know so many amazing spiritual teachers. So I started inviting them to teach on our platform. So we created a membership called Wisdom from North Membership. And that's where we have our membership. We're Q&As with teachers, and they teach and have their own classes. And sometimes I teach classes, and we have meditations and all that. So you can really have a practice on your own also.
Yeah.
I love that, to like have access to a lot of different meditations without commercials,
Yes.
so you can
That's amazing.
practice. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I have
It's
my own online course as well, like in self-love. Yeah.
It's so beautiful. I love that. So one of the things that I wrote to you about was when I saw you recently got married, and you raise your frequency and your ability to love yourself to attract that other love to come into your life. I saw a video of you singing to your husband, and oh my gosh, it just struck me. And you said you had so many people respond to that because it was like the highest expression of love and everything. And it was who you are. Can you talk about that moment? And if you don't mind, it's so beautiful. And I think that that's, people are looking for more inspiration in those areas as well.
Well, thank you. Yeah, you wrote me such a beautiful email. Yeah, I wanted to do something personal to my husband, and obviously singing is dear to my heart. I'm not singing as much anymore, actually, partially because I've had troubles with my voice, and also, I don't know, like I am really busy doing everything else with Wisdom from North. But I decided that, I'm going to train my voice again. So I was singing constantly without him knowing it, like in the car. And I was like hiding from him and singing. And yeah, I in the chapel, we just got married, got the rings and everything. And then I was just standing there, and he was like, why is she standing there? Like, aren't we done now? Like, and then, a woman comes with a microphone, and my friend starts to play the piano, and I sang "Feels Like Home" to Me.
My goodness.
And that's a song that I found that just said everything I wanted to share with him.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's one of those moments that you just feel they last forever.
Beautiful. Yeah, because that was my next question. Thank you for sharing that. Creativity was such a huge part of your life. I always say that creativity finds its way out. It will not be stifled. So whether you're an artist or singer or whatever that is for you, and I know we're busy. We're all busy creating all of these places and spaces and tools and the projects that are so important. But do you think that there'll be a time for creativity to be back in your life in a more prioritized way?
I'm actually curious about that myself. And I do not want to force it because I have obviously some theater friends and singers, and we've been speaking about doing something together, and then some of them withdrew. They couldn't, it wasn't the right time. And then I was feeling it's not the right time, but it will come when I'm ready. And it feels like there's so much going on with Wisdom from North that I'm going to do with the book. And I think my course is going to come out. Yeah, it is creative. It's coming out in English and it's the podcast. But I do think there will be a time when I will perhaps do more singing, like for myself personally, and actually doing it on stage as well. It's not the right time. I can just feel it. And when the time is right, I think my higher self will let me know.
Yeah, you'll get the pull, you'll get the call, baby. That's what happens. Yeah, I'm feeling it now, and I'm feeling like I want to bring it more in. I ask the universe, and like there's these little invitations that are coming, and I can feel my voice waking up, and I find myself singing when I was not singing for a long time. And I said to my beloved, "Did you hear me? I was like singing a lot last week." He's like, "I know, I heard, I liked it." And I feel like it's time. So I love your answer because it will present itself when it's time, when it's the perfect time. I have, part of why I have the podcast, like I said in the beginning, is to serve as an inspiration to others. And so I'd like to ask you, if someone's feeling that call, like yours came on the park bench and it, you were feeling it though, and it intuited to you. But if someone's feeling that call, but doesn't know how to begin, what would you say to them?
Yeah.
Do it.
Well, I want to share that I didn't quit my day job before years after. So I'm not like a fan of like quit everything and just go for it, because I've been afraid and I need security in my life. So I had my day job a long time alongside doing Wisdom from North. I just think paying attention to the signs and synchronicities, because when we pay attention to synchronicities, they become miracles. That's what I was taught when I was at this ashram in India. And I really believe that when you notice that, oh, I just listened to that song in my head or sang that song in the car, and then someone else is referring to it, or it's on the radio, or you think of a person and the person calls you. When you start to see these synchronicities, it is life, I believe, saying, or angels, or what you want to call it in a way, saying, hey, you are on the right track.
Yeah.
Just continue on this path. So that's how it will open up. Like the way I met my husband, he was my neighbor, but there are many neighbors in the neighborhood. Yeah. But I kept meeting him again and again on the street, on every corner. And there was also a split second where he was bicycling and I was coming down here, and he was bicycling. And if it had been 2 seconds later, we would have missed each other. And that's when we sort of made the deal to have a date. Date time.
Yeah.
So these are not coincidences. So when we start to trust, and we see that life is with us, and we also are open to receiving it and asking, show me the way. You could even every morning just connect to your heart and just help me be in my heart today, and help me follow the guidance that is coming for me to live my soul's purpose. So we're asking, because the angels, every guest that I have that channels angels are like, you have to ask for help, right? We cannot just come there and fix things for you. You have to ask for help. So when we are asking and then paying attention, observing what's going on in our everyday life, observing thoughts, observing feelings, am I expanding or am I contracting? like in every situation with people, am I expanding my chest or contracting? So our bodies speak to us all the time. Even our friends, what are they saying? Like there are clues all over the place all the time. And I think the more we pay attention to this, the more rapid they are coming as well. So it is like trusting that your higher self, or we can call it your inner guru, whatever you're comfortable with, will show you the way when you start to follow every step of the way. So we don't need to figure out the how, because I didn't know how to.
Yeah.
I couldn't force people to come on my podcast. Like I was just starting to write emails, and then you surrender, right? You see what happens, and then it starts happening. And then it's right as well, because it's just starting to flow.
Yeah, it feels itself.
That was a long answer.
That's perfect.
But that is a spiritual journey also. I think, living in alignment with your higher self is just constantly pay attention to life and where life sort of wants to lead you.
It's beautifully said. I agree with you. It's perfect, actually. So I'd like to ask you, you're welcome. I'd like to ask you, you have so much going on. Like, what are you most excited about right now? What's like the one thing you're like, gets me out of bed every morning and makes my heart fill up?
Well, I'm excited about love. I really am.
I love that. It's so special.
I just get happy every time I see my husband come home from work.
That's so sweet. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm also very excited about the self-love course I'm going to have in January in Norwegian, and it will probably be made in English. So on my Norwegian Instagram, I'm like having this calendar thing where I'm like inspiring people to have inner peace. I'm excited about just doing what I can to inspire people to become more conscious in their everyday lives and loving themselves more, not being perfect. Because I think one of the things people are struggling most with, including myself, is really loving ourselves and being less critical. And I think I heard a beautiful thing the other day from a guest on my show, that new souls, like young souls, they are learning compassion towards others, while older souls are learning compassion towards themselves.
Ooh, it's so good. That's so interesting. It's true. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm excited about creating awareness around that for older souls.
That's great. That's amazing. And you're going to be coming to the States soon in the beginning of the year, right? Tell everyone about that, and our friend Suzanne.
Yeah, gosh, I was so honored. I've been invited to come to Sedona, and I've been there before once, and now I'm coming back, and I'm going to have a talk around self-love and opening up to your purpose through finding your North Star. So yeah, it's happening in March 20th, around 20th, I think. And Bashar, like Daryl Anka is going to be there, and a lot of amazing speakers. So I'm really honored that I've been invited. So I can't wait.
Yeah. And that's called the Sedona Ascension Retreat. Is that correct?
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. And you can research that and check out who's going to be there. And Janneke will be there if you're in the States and you want to see her. But tell everyone, Janneke, where they can find you, share all the things so people can go explore you. I don't know how they wouldn't know you, but if they somehow don't.
Oh, you're sweet. Yeah, you can find me on wisdomfromnorth.com and also YouTube, Wisdom from North, where I have all the podcast episodes, including 2 with you, Pamela.
Yes.
And yeah, then we have our membership, and you can find it on our website, wisdomfromnorth.com. And also we have a lot of free stuff there, like free meditations that you can check out and other just inspiring content. So yeah, just go to my website and you'll find everything, actually.
Amazing. Well, I want to thank you so much for being here with me today. And I know that people are really going to enjoy your story and just being able to connect with you in a different way. And I love that you were on the other side of the podcast for a change. And you're going to be doing this a lot, I'm sure, because you have so many beautiful things to share with the world. And I just want to remind everyone to go If you didn't catch what she said, I'm going to put all of her details in the show notes. And remember that within every moment lies the call to listen to your spirit, answer it, honor it, and always live the call. I'll see you next time. I hope today's episode sparked insights for you on your healing journey. If you're searching for support and connection, you should join our community at spirit-calling.com. Spirit Calling is a like-minded community of spiritual individuals learning, sharing, and growing together every day. No matter what you're experiencing in your journey, you'll find resources and a community to support you along the way. Until next time, keep listening to your internal guidance and stepping into your spirit's call.